I know what you're thinking. It's because I hear it all the time. Praxis, it's great that you live off in the middle of nowhere, but that's not very realistic for the rest of us. Okay, fair enough, but if you don't live in an environment like this, if the shit ever hits the fan, you're gonna need to move, and you're gonna probably need to move pretty quickly. Are you ready for that? In this video, we're gonna talk about how you can be ready to get out of your location in 10 minutes or less, how to bug out in 10 minutes. Is that something you're ready for? If you got the word right now, would you be able to leave in 10 minutes? Well, after you watch this video, you'll find out that it's not only possible, but it's easy to do that. We'll have you on your way out to the sticks in 10 minutes or less.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now waiting, better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything.
Hey everybody, this is Praxis. I'm in my storage shed right now, and tomorrow I'm going camping, and I have not packed a single thing. I've done nothing to get ready for the camping trip other than I made reservations somewhere several months ago, but other than that, nothing is packed. Is this a problem? No, it's not a problem, because I'm ready to go camping with like 10 or 15 minutes notice. You tell me in 10 or 15 minutes we need to go out the door and we're camping, I'm ready to do that. Why am I ready to do that? Not because I think that, you know, these free camping trips is going to pop up randomly and I have to be ready for them, but because camping and bugging out are really very similar. The idea between both of them is that you're grabbing a bunch of things, you're taking them with you, you're going to another location. Now, if you're bugging out, you might be going to a friend or a relative's house. That would oftentimes be kind of ideal, but you need to be able to maybe not have that as an option to you, and you have to be able to kind of set up and subsist sort of anywhere. And setting up and subsisting in some random place anywhere, that's also called camping. So that's what I want to talk about in this video, is the similarities between the two of those and how I prepare to be able to be ready to run out the door, 10 or 15 minutes notice, and I've got everything already packed. Now, the reason that I started being ready for this type of thing is because on a year-over-year basis, I would always kind of go on a camping trip, and it occurred to me, you know, I'm always packing exactly the same things. Why am I unpacking these bags when I get home? So what I decided to do was that I wanted to just leave the bags packed, and I came up with a modular bag system where there's different bags that have different things inside of them, and they're all ready to go at a moment's notice. They're all right over here on this shelf. This is my camping shelf slash, holy crap, we got to get out of here in 10 or 15 minutes because of X, Y, or Z. Who knows what might be happening. And I keep everything in here. I also have a list, and the list reminds me to make sure that I have all the bags. It lists all the bags that I need to take, and it also reminds me what's in each of the bags, so that if I'm like kind of running and gunning and I know I had that in one of these bags, I can look through my list and I can see exactly where that lighter is or exactly where that knife is. So right on the top here, I've got this bag here, which is a tent. This is an LL Bean tent. This is their Vector XL4. I don't think this is a particularly awesome tent. There's just a lot of really crappy tents out there, and this is like an okay one. The Rainfly, as is usual with every tent that I've ever bought, it served me for like 2 seasons, and then it's like completely useless after that, which is why I also carry tarps, and there's tarps in one of these bags as well. But this is the first bag that needs to go out the door. Well, they're not in any particular order, but this is the one that's on top, so I grabbed it first. So this is my tent bag, and I'm going to put that down right at the floor, and it's ready to go out the door. This is the next package right here, and this is cooking stuff. And inside the pot, there's a bunch of other little cooking pots. There is like silverware, like knives and spoons, forks, things like that. There are cups, there's bowls, there's little plates and things. All the different things that I need for cooking over an open fire. And this is like some extra stuff that I bought recently that doesn't fit in there. I should probably put that all in a bag, but I haven't quite done it yet. But this is like my kitchen stuff. So there's my kitchen stuff. Next thing in here is a little stove, a rocket stove, that I use for making fires. Now, you can just do an open fire. You can make a little fire ring with stones, and you can build something. The reason that I bring this along with me is that it is a really great way of being super, super efficient with fuel. You can just throw some like little twigs and some pine cones in here, and you can actually cook a meal over it. I'll see like other people when I go to like a campground, they have these piles and piles of wood, and they'll go through like, you know, huge amounts of firewood in order to just cook a meal. With this, like I said, a few sticks and a pine cone or two, and you can, you know, cook all your food. So it's really, really efficient. So I tend to bring this with me. Now, if I needed to backpack into the woods, would I bring this? But with you know, the way that we're going to be doing our camping trip, we're just going to be working out of the car. This throws in just fine, no big deal at all. This was made by EnviroFit. I think it's called EnviroFit. I got it many, many years ago when it was really hard to get things like this. I had to get on like a special waiting list to get this one. Now these things are really, really easy to obtain. Actually, down in the description below, I'm going to put links to some of the products that I'm talking about here if you wanted to get anything particular that I talk about. But having some kind of a rocket stove, I think, is a really great way of maximizing fuel, especially if fuel is scarce or if fuel is wet. You can still have some damp stuff, you put it in there, and it really focuses the heat, steams all that moisture out of it and gets it burning for you. I love having a rocket stove. So that's the next thing going on the ground. Next thing that we have here, this is my bedding bag. It just has like sleeping bags and sleeping pads, and it has sheets in here. There are some extra blankets. There are towels in there for like, showering. But this is like all the kind of domestic stuff that makes it so that you can go to bed and be, warm and dry at night. That's what's in the bedding bag. Okay, next one we have coming down here. This is my shelter bag. So the shelter bag, I used to leave my tent in this bag, but it was just really awkward to kind of shove the whole tent in here. So I leave the tent out of the bag at this moment. It's just a bunch of tarps and stakes and all sorts of things that are related to setting up tent. There's like a shovel in here for doing like trenching to make it so you got like rain can get around your structure. So this is all things related to creating a shelter and having it function well for you. So we're gonna put that down here. And then the next thing on the shelf, this is a food bag. When I go camping, I grab all sorts of extra food, little snacks and things like that. But this is kind of like a fail-safe. If I'm not able to grab any other food, there's plenty of food in here for quite a bit of time. There's granola bars are in here. There's oats and rice, and there's dehydrated bean mix, there's salt, there's all different types of spices and seasonings. There's lots of, kind of kitchen utensil types of things. There's a water filter in here. The water filter is kept in here. There's also all sorts of other things like, just different tools and things like that. But this is all things related to preparing food at your campsite. Okay, next bag we got coming up. This is general camping sorts of stuff. There are bug nets in here. There are warm water bladders, like water bladders that you can fill up with hot water that you get off the wood stove, and then take them into your sleeping bag at night. If it's cold, and even if you don't have a tent that's particularly good in the cold weather, if you take a hot water bottle, one that's not going to leak, a good one, into a sleeping bag with you, and just kind of have that with you overnight, you can have a really comfortable night even if it's cold out. If you do that, I would recommend, you don't want to take a scalding hot water bottle and put it right up next to your skin. So you maybe take one of your coats or something like that and wrap your coat around it or wrap a towel around it and make it so it's not in direct contact with you. It also makes it more slow release, so you're not like sweating your ass off at the beginning of the night and then by the end it's cold. It makes it kind of slow release out, kind of trickle out heat to you. That's in here. There are solar panels in here for charging things up. All sorts of just different, random camping tools. Now, how do I know exactly what to put in here? Well, it's by myself going camping. I go out, I have experiences, I think to myself, oh gee, I wish I had this. I add it to the list, and whenever I would add things to the list, I'd add them to the bag. If you ever build a system like this, you can look at my list and see what I have, but my list is for me. Your list would have to be customized to you. There might be things that you need if you have certain medications. Those are the things that you need to make sure that you have. If you have other kind of physical limitations, you might want to have things related to that. I bet there's a ton of stuff that I bring that you don't even want to bother with. Like maybe you don't care about tea in the morning, so you don't need to have like a hot water bottle. The idea is that everybody would customize their bags to what their actual needs are. So while what I have here is kind of a starting point, and it's what I use, it doesn't have to be what you use. This is just a place to begin. Add things or take things away, as you see fit. What else we got over here? Just have a couple more sleeping bags over here that I'll oftentimes throw in. Now we have enough stuff in the bedding bag that I don't need these, but I just kind of throw them in. When I'm going car camping, it really doesn't matter. Throw a few extra sleeping bags in there, and that's no trouble at all. We have a few other things on here, and I'm not going to pull them out. I've got one bag that is specific to an emergency situation, that it's all sitting here. It's ready to go. I'm not going to bring it camping with me, but it's got things like Geiger counters, different detectors. There's plastic sheeting and things like that. And in fact, we have a bunch of plastic sheeting up here as well. This stuff is intended to be used if we are going to bug out, and let's say it was a radiological situation, and we had the time before we had to tear out of here, we would take this plastic sheeting and like put it over the garden beds. So if we end up having to come back here, we don't have any better options later on. You know, we've kind of covered up some of our garden beds, and you know, we can use this stuff to make it so this place is going to be a little bit better coming back to than it might otherwise be. But I do have that emergency bag, and that has all sorts of extra things that, you know, I might need in an emergency situation, but I'm certainly not going to bring them camping. One last thing I am going to bring with me camping is this right here. I think that's the last thing. Yeah, that's the last thing down there. Yeah, keep everything nice and close together so I can always just look over the whole shelf. This here is a internal frame backpack. I've got a EDC pack that I carry with me all the time, and that will be going with me. I'm not showing that in this video. Here's a link to a video where I go all through what's in that backpack. But the reason I have this is that if you are not used to backpacking, if you're not used to hiking, the idea that you just buy a backpack does not mean that all your backpack needs are solved. Most of the backpacks out there are really, really awful in terms of like ergonomics and putting a lot of weight on your back and not feeling like, you know, awful, you know, after you've been hiking around with this thing for a while. So I bring this with me because when I am going to be doing like a real hike and I want to carry a bunch of stuff with me, I take it out of my EDC bag and I put it into this because this is so much more comfortable. This is, like I said, an internal frame pack. It has some metal splines inside that kind of match the curvature of your back. It hugs you in your hips and over your shoulders. And these things are great. Actually, I'll just kind of demo it right here for you. These things are great because you can transfer the weight from your hips to your back and then back and forth. Like right now, I'm tightening up the bottom and all the weight is right here on my hips. I can take the entire pack and loosen it. And I don't know if you can see daylight between there, but the pack is not even, well, see what I mean? It's not even on my shoulders at this point. All the weight is down on my hips. Now, if I was carrying this with actual weight, I wouldn't take my arms out of these straps here because, you know, you wouldn't want to like bend over and fall on the ground. But the idea is all the weight's on my hips right now. And after a while, carrying on your hips like that, it starts to feel a little bit sore. So at that point, take these, tighten them down, loosen it up, and now it's completely off my hips, and now it's all up here. And you can kind of like make it be, you know, part of one, part of the other, so it kind of shares the load. But it's such a great feeling when you're hiking, and it's like, oh, my shoulders, I'm feeling like, you know, I got so much, you know, I've just been carrying the weight up in here for such a long time to just take this, transfer the weight down there, loosen it up here, and it's like, oh. And you're still carrying all the weight, but you moved it to a different part of your body. So I like to have different packs like this. These don't have to be particularly expensive. I mean, this isn't the cheapest pack in the world. It's a low alpine pack. It's an internal frame pack. You can usually get external frame packs, and those are super comfortable as well. I have some of those actually in the basement of the shed. I'm not going to pull them up. You know, I think you guys can imagine what an external pack looks like. You can pick those up at like thrift stores all the time. I'm always seeing those things for like $3, $5 or something like that. And you know, honestly, they're kind of actually a little bit more comfortable than this one to wear frequently. Now, why do I use this one instead? Well, the internal frame packs, oftentimes they don't have a lot of individual pockets, and I kind of like the individual pockets. But the external frame pack, it really kind of, it gets the pack away from your body a little bit more. It lets for more airflow in there, so if it's like hot, you're getting hot and sweaty, oftentimes those external frame packs can actually be a little bit more comfortable. So that is what I have here on the shelf that's ready to go at a moment's notice. I don't know, how long was this video? It's probably longer than 10 minutes because I was, you know, jabbering so long about it. But the idea is, at a moment's notice, I can come in here, I can grab all this stuff, we can throw it in the car, and within a few minutes, we know that the car is packed with at least all of our basic kind of things. We're not going to, we won't be missing anything absolutely critical. So it gives us a lot of peace of mind that if we ever needed to leave this area for like wildfire or a radiological disaster or aliens invading by airdropping bird flu infected clown zombies or whatever the case may be, we can get the basics, the basic essentials that we need into the vehicle. We can get out of the area, and we can know that, you know, we might have forgotten X, Y, or Z, like someone's favorite stuffed animal or, you know, the family photos or whatever, but we're not going to forget anything that's absolutely critical. We can provide for our basic needs. We can keep ourselves warm. We can keep ourselves dry. We can keep ourselves hydrated. We can keep ourselves fed for a while. And I think that's a really nice feeling to have. And it's also just nice for camping because leading up to this camping trip, which I said tomorrow I'm leaving on my camping trip, I didn't have to prepare anything. I'm totally ready to go. I know that I didn't have to, like, you know, pack my bags or whatever. I'm just going to, you know, grab some clothes inside the house. That's the one thing that we add is, like, you know, add some fresh clothes to the mix. But it takes a lot of burden off of me having to worry about planning for all these trips, because I know I got all my basics covered, and I just, like I said, just throw some clothes into the mix, throw some extra food in there, and we're good to go, and we're going to have a good time, and I know that I'm not going to forget anything important. That's it. Thanks for watching. Good luck. Go on your own camping trips. Start making your own lists. You'll find out really quickly what you're missing. Going camping is a great way of creating bug-out bags, because if you don't have something after a couple of days in the woods, or even after a couple hours, you're going to know it, write it down, and next time you're not going to forget it. Thanks for watching. Hey YouTube preppers, if you like this video, here's another one that I think you're going to like. But before you click on that one, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on this video.